you so much for coming on board to doing this session.
Oh, no problem. Uh, I wish I had something like this when I was just exploring my options. It would have been of great help,
I
truly.
know, I know. So this webinar is in collaboration with QFIS. QFIS is a mentorship platform with a community of experts who guide individuals in their journey. So QFIS also hosts coaching and workshops on different topics to enhance skills of mentees. So I will drop in their link in the chat section. So if any of you all are interested in connecting with amazing mentors like Brinda, you all can definitely head to their platform. Lovely. So, Brinda, let's start off with a short introduction. Can you tell us a little about your educational background? What did you work on, and what are you currently doing?
Sure. So my education background is I've done my graduation in Bachelor's in Mass Media, that's BMM, and then I went ahead and did my postgrad from Miami Ad School. It's an advertising school based. It has a bunch of different schools around the world, and since I graduated from Miami Ad School, I've been working. So I did also intern for a year while at Miami Ad School. I interned for one whole year in New York, and then I came back to India and have been working ever since. So first I was at TVWA, then I joined Leo Burnett, and now I'm currently at Ogilvy.
Wow, that amazing organizations you've also worked at. And were
Yeah.
you always interested in the field of advertising, or did you like pave your way through it?
So I feel I knew really early on that I wanted to get in, I wanted to be an ad director. I didn't have in mind advertising as such. I knew, I think in my first or second year of graduation that I wanted to do art direction. Then I did a little bit of research. I found out there's advertising art direction, and then there's art direction for films and stuff like that. But somehow advertising art direction caught my eye a little more. So I did a little more research about that, and then I found out about the school that I went to, and that's how it all started. So I knew pretty early on that I wanted to do something like this.
That's amazing. So you're currently working as an art director at Ogilvy. Can you
Yeah.
tell us what are the roles and responsibilities that you have at this organization?
So as an art director, my role basically is to come up with ideas based on various briefs that the clients give us, and come up with idea, flesh out a whole plan for it, a whole campaign for it, and then get into execution. So may that be digital, may it be tvcs, may it be just some simple posts or print ads. So anything and everything from the thought process to the execution. Yeah,
Wow, that
so
sounds so much
I
fun.
yeah, it does. So at Ogilvy, I work on Cadbury as a brand. So a lot of stuff that happens for Cadbury goes through our team.
That's amazing. So, can you tell us about any one specific campaign that you came up with or ran along with your team? Like, what was the campaign about, and how did you all come up with the whole idea behind it?
Sure. So at Ogilvy, when I joined, they already had the whole thought of a campaign that was for Crispello. It's a chocolate with four bars in it. So
Okay.
they had this whole campaign. I mean, the thought behind it. It's called Crispello Breaking Barabar Sharing. And after I joined Ogilvy, we basically fleshed the whole campaign out, and the, made the TVC and the digital posts and everything inside the campaign. So we did something for Friendship Day. We did something. We're doing something for IPL. So after that, the thought was there. We kind of fleshed it out after joining Ogilvy, but it was a great experience. And something I'm working on currently is Madbury. It's actually coming soon, it's launching soon, so I can't say a lot about it, but they've had their first season out already. So Madbury 1 was where Cadbury gave everybody in India a chance to make their own Cadbury flavor. So
Oh,
it's basically a website where you go and choose two ingredients, and you make your own Cadbury flavor, and then Cadbury would choose a winner out of it and then actually launch that flavor. So we're
Wow.
actually working on edition 2 of Madbury now.
That's very interesting. So,
Yeah.
can you tell us how important is it working with a team while working at a creative in an ad agency?
So, in generally, when you're a creative at an ad agency, if you do not have a partner, you're always teamed up with, say, if you're an art, you're teamed up with a copy partner. If you're a copywriter, you're teamed up with an art partner. So
Okay.
most of the times, what happens is when you join an agency, everybody's new, and suddenly you're given this one partner, and you're like, okay, you need to work with this partner day in and day out, and do do all the ideation with them, all the execution with them and stuff. So most of the times what I've noticed is when you're asked to work with someone you don't know much, it gets a little uncomfortable and also difficult because you guys might have different thoughts, you guys might come from different places. So for me it was really important to from the beginning to have a partner whom I know, so I could work with that partner, and we could gel well together, have a good rapport together, which is why since day one I've been working with my copy partner, and we've been together, working together everywhere since then.
That makes sense because then you're able to understand his or her thought process, and you also
Correct.
like blend along well with it.
Correct. It's always easier when you're working with someone you know versus when you're just teamed up with someone you don't know. I'm not saying it doesn't work. For some people, it does work beautifully. But for me personally, it was really important to have someone I know. So it just made it easier for me
Makes
to
sense.
work.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So then I think you've also worked at a lot of brilliant organizations. Leo Burnett, definitely one of them. TBWA, PINC. Can you tell us what were the job roles at these companies, and was it very different, or was it like the same role? And what did you have to play in these organizations?
So PINC was actually my first internship in New York. PINC stands for People, Ideas, and Culture. It's this really tiny, cute little agency in Brooklyn, right by the Brooklyn Bridge. And so, uh, as a first internship, it was a great experience for me because because it was small. I did have a lot of jobs to do, a lot of work to do, and it was really interesting. So then, okay, wait, sorry,
No,
is
no, no.
my
I was referring to Vaishnavi only. Yeah, we
oh,
can
okay,
hear
yeah.
you.
Okay. So, yeah, so as an internship, I did get a really good experience there working on their ongoing campaigns and stuff like that. Then, TBWA in New York, I did as an internship. TBWA Mumbai was my first job in India. Both, they're two same, I mean, as you can say, that TBWA, both of them, but the culture over there and the culture over here was completely different. They were two really, really good experiences that I had. While I was at TBWA in New York, I was handling digital for Tic Tac. And while here at TBWA, I've handled a lot of pitches. I'd say work for JSW Paints, IDFC, um, Standard Chartered Bank, and a lot of stuff over there while uh, I was at TBWA. And then Leo Burnett, unfortunately, I was at Leo Burnett for a very short period, but over there I was handling Skechers, and that was also a very different experience for me because Skechers was an entirely fashion conscious brand, which was not something I had worked on before. So it was a really great experience, and the clients were also really young and peppy. So there was this really good vibe and stuff. So yeah, all of them were different, but great experiences.
That's amazing. So, like you mentioned, I think every brand has a different target audience. So, is it difficult for y'all as well to, change your, creatives and perspective to each target audience and each brand?
It really is important. I think it's very important to understand where the brand is coming from, what are the brand's guidelines, and it's also very important to understand your clients and their thinking, because at the end of the day, the work you do is going to be approved by the clients, right? So you
Yeah.
need to understand how the client side works, and the history of the brand. So one of these things that my copy partner and we always do whenever we have a new brand to work on, the first thing we ask for is the brand's guidelines. So I know guidelines come in like 100 pages PDF, but it's really important to go through them, because that's how you get a little bit of idea of, okay, the brand likes this is the language of the brand, this is how the brand likes to look, and stuff like that. So yeah, you do have to change your thinking a little bit according to each brand. It's really important, but I don't think it's a difficult thing to do. Our generation, we can adapt to anything, I feel. It's really
Definitely.
easy for us to understand. But I'm not saying like two different brands like Skechers and Paints, JSW Paints, they're two different brands, yes, but I'm saying even inside Cadbury, the sub brands have different languages. So if I'm
Yeah.
working on Crispello, I'm doing something completely different. If I'm working on Dairy Milk, I have a completely different thinking. It's stuff like that. So each sub
Okay.
brand also has their own language.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So we have a lot of students from the business background. Can you tell us, as an advertiser and a professional in this field, what are some of the skills that are required?
Um, One very important skill you require as a creative in advertising is how to present. It's really difficult for some people in the beginning, because some people, they get really nervous to talk in front of people and present and all of that. But that's something you really need to work on as a
Yeah.
creative, because how you present the idea is how the client or anybody is going to see the idea. If you don't present it well, it's not going to sell. If you want to sell it, you need to be bang on and present it really, really well. It That's something we were taught while in school, Miami Art School, that even if the idea is really, really bad, present it so well that the person in front of you is like, okay, no, this person has to be right, and this is an amazing idea, we need to buy it. It's like that. You need to be a really good presenter.
Okay, all right. What about projects and all? Because we have a lot of students right now who are, either in school or colleges, and they want to, move into the creative advertising field. So what are some of the projects that they can work on while they are in college to build their resumes?
um I think some depending on what part of advertising they like. If they like art direction, they should definitely try and work on a lot of design and art based stuff. If they like writing, they should definitely try and write some manifestos and some ads, some quirky lines, and those kind of projects. And if you're someone who doesn't know if they want art or copy, you should definitely try and just pick up this one brand and make your own problem out of it, make your own strategy out of it, and make your own campaign, entire campaign. Just flesh it out and just go wild with it. Because when you're working for yourself, when you're working on your own, there are no budgets that you need to look at, and there's nothing like, okay, I don't have so much time, or maybe the client will not have so much money. Just go wild with it and make your own projects. Like, pick up your favorite brand and work with it. But you should definitely try and like explore different brands like that on yourself.
Lovely. So even for resumes, when they present it, for any internships or job opportunities, what do you think is important and like the highlight of their resumes that they should be focusing on?
um Mainly your work and your skills and education. By skills, I mean, as an art director, I am expected to know Adobe. And if I know a little bit of After Effects and a little bit of film editing, it's always a good thing. But Photoshop, Illustrator is a must when you're an art director. So yeah, your skills should be of topmost priority, and then a little bit of your education. But also, I'd suggest, so not a lot of people know about this, but advertising has its own sets of awards, which are
Okay.
extremely important. I did not know about it till the time I started my course at Miami Art School. I had no idea that advertising maybe
Present.
awards exist.
Yeah.
But over the time I've learned it's extremely, extremely important, because having awards and not having awards makes a huge difference in where you get a job, what post you get a job at, and how much you're getting paid.
Okay.
Which is something, I mean, I experienced it myself firsthand, which is why I'm saying awards are extremely important. So some awards are free, some are not. But I feel people who do want to get into advertising should start researching these awards and try and apply for more of them, try and win as many as you can. And then when you win awards, your resume needs to be, I mean, they need to be highlighted in your resume. They can be bigger than your name if they have to be, because awards are the things that will land you a great job.
Definitely. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I think when you're in college, you don't really know what is
Correct.
important by the industry.
Yeah, you don't know about it till you enter the industry. I know a lot of people who in India who didn't do an advertising course and straight away just jumped into their first job at an advertising agency. And when they joined there, that's when they came to know, okay, there's something like awards. But you don't get to do a lot of awards over there because, you know, you're focusing on everyday work, right? So as a
True.
student, there are these different student categories that awards have, which are easier briefs with no budget limits, nothing. So you can go wild with your imagination for those awards. And I think it's extremely, extremely important for anybody who wants to get into advertising to try and explore these awards. And
So
even
are
if you
there
don't win, it's like it's like a game for
practice?
your mind, right? You're just practicing, you're learning, you're getting better.
Makes sense. So is there like any website where they can apply for these awards, or where can they find, to participate or, apply for them?
So, so there are a lot of awards. Of the top of my head, the most important advertising awards is Cannes Lion. So we all know Cannes because all these celebrities go there, right? But
Yeah.
there's also a section of Cannes which is for advertising, and it's the most prestigious advertising award in the world. So Cannes Lions also has this category called Future Lions. Now, Future Lions is and only for students, and it's free. And
Okay.
they have a brief every year. It's a small brief. Generally, I mean, as far as I know, the brief is something related to technology,
Okay.
and the expectation isn't massive either. So off the top of my head, Future Lions is one. The other one is One Show. So One Show is also a very prestigious award in advertising. There's DNAD. DNAD is big for art directors mainly.
Okay.
And then if I talk about Indian awards, the one of the biggest Indian awards is Curious. KYOORIUS, Curious. The Curious Awards, they just actually happened last week, and our team did win a lot of awards for Curious as well. So yeah, one of the Indian ones is Curious. So yeah, these are some really important awards that people can look at.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm sure the mentees
Yeah,
can research and look up if they're interested in pursuing that.
yeah.
Coming to the question of internship. So internships, I think, also hold a lot of value. And I think when you did your first internship, you got a little bit of more insight. So can you help out the students as to like where can they find these internships and how can they apply for it and what kind of internship should they be doing?
So I think LinkedIn, just like how you guys found me, that's how they can find internships, right? I think going to LinkedIn and looking, just probably if you have certain agencies in your mind, go look for people who work at those agencies. It does not necessarily need to be an HR or anybody. You can just if you come across a creative director, just message the creative director saying, hey, I'm studying so and so, and I'm interested in doing an internship. Would your agency be open to getting interns? I get a lot of messages like that, like, I'm willing to do an internship, and would Ogilvy want to get an intern and stuff like that. So yeah, just go on LinkedIn. If you know friends who work at certain agencies, speak to the friends, ask the friends to talk to their friends in the agency and teams, and just make a network. I
Network.
think LinkedIn is very important in the beginning, start few years of your career.
Definitely. So, mentees, I think we would suggest you all work on your LinkedIn profiles and, reach out. I think it's nice that they have a platform where you can directly,
Yeah.
reach out to
Yeah.
people nowadays.
Yeah, and speaking from experience, I know a lot of people feel ki okay, what if I message this person and they get irritated and they don't like it. But speaking from experience, I don't think that's ever happened to me, or I've never felt that in my life. Like, huh, okay. I mean, I've been in that intern's place, so I know how it feels, right? So
Yeah.
just don't feel shy. Just go ahead and message whoever you want. I think I have messaged the CCO of Ogilvy on LinkedIn once. I was interning at Ogilvy, New York, and he was having lunch. I also walked in front of him and started having a conversation with him. So networking is extremely, extremely important. You shouldn't feel shy.
Makes sense. Lovely. So you did your diploma in advertising from Miami Ad School, which is brilliant. So can you tell
Yeah.
us your experience and how important is it for somebody who's also looking to pursue further studies in this direction?
So to be honest, Miami Ad School changed my entire look out towards advertising. I knew I wanted to get into advertising. I had absolutely no clue what this industry was.
Yeah.
And uh, when you do a majors in something, that it actually does help you learn a lot. And Miami Ad School was a place where there were no exams or anything of sorts. Everything was just practical knowledge. And
Okay.
one good thing we had as part of Miami Ad School was, um, so as part of the course, you do 1 year as studies, and then the other year you can do as internships, and you can intern anywhere in the world. They have a list of, I think, 70 or 80 agencies from all over the world, and you can apply to whatever agency you want, and if they accept you, you go there and intern for 3 months, and then after 3 months you change your internship and go to another place. So that
Okay.
actually gave me a lot of perspective towards the advertising industry, and I got to learn how things work, because it's different when you're in college, but it's very different when you're actually at the agency on your feet working and learning stuff. So yeah. And
Definitely. I think
yeah.
it's nice that, Miami Art School looks at the practical aspect of it. So the fact that you're doing internships, make sure that you're learning it practically more than theoretically.
Correct. And also the people who teach there are also people like me who are currently in the industry working, and then they're also on the side taking these lectures and teaching the kids over there.
Interesting. Okay, that's very nice. So what tools and softwares do you use like on a regular basis as an art director and an advertiser?
So mainly I use Illustrator and Photoshop. That's like the most important two softwares. Sometimes if it's needed and I have to, then I'll do a little bit of animation on After Effects. I'm not very good at Premiere Pro yet, but I can do basic video editing. But I don't think वो किसी के काम आता है. Like, I mean, what I make is of no use for anybody. And yeah, presentations. You do have to make a lot of presentations, but these are all creative presentations, so they don't need to look boring. They need to look beautiful. So
Okay.
that's also something. So basis whatever Windows, Apple, whatever you have, Keynote or PowerPoint, um, I do work on that on a regular basis as well.
Okay. So can you give us a couple of pro tips on, coming up with a creative campaign? Like how do you ideate your thought process and a couple of pro tips to help out the mentees?
So what I do is I sit and understand the brief properly. I try and think, you know, what exactly is it that we can do, what what different can we do to solve this problem. Like, what if I were to do something, would I be attracted by it? If I were to make so and so ad and I was the consumer, would I look at it and be excited by it? Right. So
Right.
I usually think like that. Ki, okay, what's something I've never looked at before? And also something very important is doing your research. So when you're working on a specific brief of a specific product or brand, it's very important to go and look at the competitors and see what the competitors are doing.
Right.
That way, okay, competitors are doing this. This is not what I'm supposed to do. I need to do something different that the competitors are not doing. So that's also one very important thing. And when you're looking at the competitors' work, believe it or not, sometimes something strikes you and you're like, you know what, I can do this. And this will be
Yeah.
really cool because the competitor is doing that. Maybe I can answer it like this. That's what generally happens with Burger King and McDonald's. They always have this tiff going
Yeah.
on, right? Yeah. So it's really important to see what the world around the brand is also doing. And sometimes if you I like to sleep on it sometimes, like, and think about it in the morning. Like, what do I feel about it in the morning versus what I feel about it in the night? You
Yeah.
always have different thoughts. It's a process. Or maybe you just go in a place where you feel creative a lot. Like maybe on the window right now, provided, I mean, we're at
Yeah.
home. So go on the window or maybe in the balcony or on the terrace and sit alone for a while and think.
Yeah. You never
Does
know.
help.
Sometimes
Yeah.
something creative might just pop up.
Yeah. Yeah. You look at something and you'll be like, oh shit, what if I can do this? It happens a lot. Believe it or not, it happens a lot. Maybe you see a truck going by and you feel like, okay, let me do this with a truck. And sometimes the clients actually feel excited by it. We did do something like that for Crispello. For Crispello, we came up with this campaign called Make Your Own Crispello Ad. So we actually initially did this as a joke with the clients. So what we did is we took our Crispello ad and we replaced all the actors' faces with the clients and just
Okay.
did it as a joke, saying, okay, our campaign is out, our TVC is out, let's all enjoy and celebrate.
Yeah.
And the client liked the idea so much that they wanted to make this available to the consumers, and we
Yeah.
ran this campaign for Friendship Day and asked people to replace their faces. We made a whole app and we asked people to replace their faces with the uh, actors' faces in the film and make their own Crispello ad. And we ran it we chose one winner and then we ran that ad with the winners' faces on TV and YouTube and everywhere.
That's
So
amazing. Yeah.
sometimes jokes become campaigns.
Definitely. And that
Yeah.
sounds so nice. Like sometimes you might not think that this might be a campaign, but
Yeah.
it's amazing to hear you think like, you all took it in a different direction.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of advertising. I feel you can do anything and everything just like I said, a joke became a campaign. You can do anything. You just need to, it's how you package it, actually, how you show
Lovely.
it, how you sell it.
Lovely. So we have a couple of Menti questions also that have come in. So
Yeah.
Vaishnavi and Vasundhara is also asking, Vaishnavi is asking, what are some of the challenging tasks that you had while becoming an art director?
While becoming an art director, uh, so while becoming an art director, which means while I was studying. So while I was studying, it was really the one of the most challenging parts was I had to study. I mean, I had to do my Miami Art School course and intern as well. So I was working 5 days a week, morning 10 till 6:37 in the evening, and then twice in a week I was also going to the college for lectures, which is in the evening from 7 to 10. So you're
Right.
out since morning, then vapis in the evening, you have to go for class, and then you reach home, it's around 11:30 by the time you reach home, then you eat food. So yeah, that was one of the challenging parts, that I had to manage both. And plus I was living alone away from mom, so there was nobody to like make food for me, keep it
Oh,
ready for me or anything.
yeah.
So but that's about it. I don't think I faced any um advertising specific challenges. No,
Okay.
not
So
really.
even while working, were there any challenges or difficulties that you faced?
um I think as interns we do face a little few challenges, as certain work does not reach interns. But as working at an agency full time, some of the challenges are, sometimes you just don't like the brief and you're like, okay, I I'm not okay with this brief, but you still
Yeah.
need to work on it, so that takes a little bit. When you don't have the thing inside you, you don't feel like working
Yeah.
on it, right? So sometimes you just have to like convince yourself that no matter what, whether you like the brief or not, you're gonna have to do it. So I think, yeah, one of the challenges is when you don't like the brief and you just have to work on it just because it has to be done. It's your job and you need to do it. Or also like long hours. I'm a grandma. I like to sleep early.
Okay.
So when I have to work long nights, I'm a little, yeah, I don't like it. But you've got to do what you got to do.
That's true. So,
Yeah.
Rashi and Ritika both asking, in terms of getting into Ogilvy, can somebody from a different background get into Ogilvy, or do you require a specific degree to get into this organization?
So Ogilvy is just like any other agency. So to get into advertising as such, you don't really need a specific advertising degree. Yeah, I know people who were engineers before and have switched to advertising. I know people who were doctors before and have switched to advertising. So there are a lot of people from different career paths who have left their career after like 6, 7, 10 years and then joined advertising. So I think it's the same for Ogilvy. As far as you're good at what you're doing, I don't think your background matters, where you're coming from. All you need to prove is, if you want to be an art director, yeah, I'm a good art director. If you want to be a copywriter, yeah, I'm a good copywriter. And I would say, rather than going the art director, copywriter way, you need to be a good creative. You need to be able to do art and copy both. So you need to be
Yeah.
a good creative as a whole, as a package.
Okay, that's great. So the thing is, we have a lot of students who, are focused on only engineering and,
Right.
law, and they want to venture out into different domains. So it's nice to hear that, they do have the scope of shifting if they have that kind of skill set.
Definitely. Anybody and everybody can get into advertising until and unless they're good at their job. They just need to be really good at what they do. They need to be passionate about what they do.
Makes sense. So somebody's also asking, did you find Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop softwares a bit difficult or overwhelming at first? And what was your inspiration learning from them?
Oh, yeah, they were very difficult for me. Like when I started my school, I was so bad at it. You won't believe I couldn't do anything. And I just felt like, okay, over the time I'll keep learning and whatever theek ho jayega and all of that. But at this one point I got a really bad grade in one of my design classes. And I was really embarrassed because in everything else I was scoring really well. Just in this, I mean, they score you on basis of your projects. So in my design project I got a really bad grade and I was so embarrassed. And I think that day I was like, okay, now I need to buck up, I need to get better at this. And I started YouTubing how to do all of these things, and eventually I got good at it. So yeah, I've learned from YouTube. I haven't done any classes or gone to any coaching classes to learn Adobe or anything. No, everything from YouTube.
Okay, so Erin is also asking for somebody who doesn't have like a specific degree in the field. Can you suggest any books, blogs, or courses that they can, do in this respective field?
So courses, India does have a few courses. I think Ecole Inuit is one of these places in Bombay that has good courses. I think there are a lot of people in advertising that come from MICA. So MICA is also nice. Of course, Miami Ad School. And I think Symbiosis also has an advertising course, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, these courses you can do. Books, there are a lot of books. There's this book by Piyush Pandey, the CCO of Ogilvy. It's called Pandemonium. So that's one book that you can read. And there's this book called Hey Whipple. It's mainly for writers, but even for art directors, it's an amazing book. I would completely recommend anybody who wants to get into advertising to read this book. It is a beautiful book. It gives you a lot of insights into advertising and lets you learn a lot of stuff about advertising. It's an amazing book.
What is the name of the book?
Hey Whipple.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Lovely. So I see a lot of questions related to an art director role. So what exactly do art directors do, and how does your day typically look like?
So, I think first and foremost, what I would like to say is art direction and being an art director and being a designer are two very, very different things. Um, a designer's job is mainly to design stuff, and art director's job is to think of ideas, execute them as well. Now, executing does require a little bit of designing skills, but it also requires a lot of visualization, a lot of imagination of, art direction also requires, when you're doing making a TVC, how's the set going to look? How are the lightings going to be? So that's an art director's job. So it does include a little bit of designing, but it does include thinking and then going on sets and visualizing stuff for the film or a photo shoot or anything like that.
Okay, very,
Yeah.
very interesting. So do you also have the creative block that a lot of people have, that they can't think at one particular point of time of what campaign to run and things like that. So how do you deal with the creative block?
Oh, yeah, I do get them. I get them when I'm overworked. Sometimes when I've had like a really busy couple of days, which was actually just last week. So, uh, I just like to take a break. So my bosses, my creative directors, they're really, really understanding. They're really nice. So sometimes when you feel like, okay, I'm having a creative block, I'm not able to do this, I
Yeah.
can very easily just text them and be like, guys, I think I need a break for a couple of hours. And then I just go watch some Netflix, do some YouTube, sleep a little. And yeah, it does help me feel better when I do that. You just take a break. Don't feel shy to take a break, because even if it's not like a physical job, you don't need to run around or do anything. Thinking is a really exhausting job sometimes. And sometimes when you've been thinking so much, so much, so much, and everything keeps getting rejected, say for example, you just get demotivated and you're like, okay, now I don't want to work at all. So that's the point where you should definitely take a break, maybe go down for a walk or something. Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So I can see two interesting questions. So how do you deal with a competitor's brand campaign? Does it affect you?
um So sometimes it affects. I've never faced this, but I'd say for example, you are doing a campaign and your competitor is doing a campaign, and you're about to launch something and your competitor launches their campaign first and it's very similar to your campaign. Then you're on a setback. Like, oh shit, they launched first. It's very similar. What are we going to do now? So that's one
Yeah.
problem you could have with competitors. I have not seen that a lot, but it might happen sometime probably because it's a small world.
True, true.
Another thing would be, I like to look at competitors, how McDonald's and Burger King look at each other. A little bit of fun, making fun of each other, thoda bahut on social media and stuff like even how Netflix and Amazon Prime Video does on Twitter. They make fun of each other. So yeah, that's how you should look at competitors. You should never look at, okay, I need to bring this brand down and I need to bring my brand up. No, that's not how you should look at it. I think you should look at it like, how can we both exist in the same world and still save two very, very different things.
Makes sense. And take
Yeah,
inspiration from it as well. Like, okay,
take
how did this
inspiration.
person come
Yeah,
up with a campaign?
yeah, I mean, sometimes you just look at an idea and you're like, god, why didn't I come up with this, right? So then you that inspires you, like, no, I need to come up with something really better than this. I need to make someone else say, why didn't I come up with that idea?
Okay. So I can see two people asking similar questions. I think Macklin and I'm not sure who else it asked, but something related to how do you start with ads? Like what goes on in your mind? I think we've already covered this question, but they want a little bit of more insight on how do you come up with the whole ad campaign and what should one keep in mind while designing an advertisement?
um so I'll tell you the process from the beginning, okay? So the thing that happens is there's a product. Okay. The client comes with a brief to us. The client is like, okay, this is my product. This is how I want to sell it to the market. How I want to sell it, as in, I want to have a different kind of communication than it had last year. Okay. And then they it goes to the strategy team, and the strategy and planning team, they come up with this whole thought process behind it, and they have this whole thinking ki, okay, maybe we should go through these areas, maybe we should talk about, say for example, Crispello. So Crispello, the first thing that they went with was crunch. Okay, because it has Rice Krispies inside. Now this year the planning team came up with a whole idea of, why don't we go with sharing, because sharing is caring is a big thing in India, right? So
Yeah.
for Crispello, why don't we go with sharing? So they come with those thoughts with us, insights and thoughts. And then the creative team, we go through, all of their insights, and then we start thinking, okay, how can we, make sharing interesting? How can we, make people want to share something? How can we make sharing like, the thing that goes with Crispello? Say, for example, if you take Kit Kat, the first thing you think of is break, right?
Yeah.
So how can we make Crispello and sharing
Sharing.
together? Equal sharing, to be honest. Equal sharing is the campaign. So Crispello and equal sharing should go hand in hand. How do we do that? That's how we come up with the line, which says Crispello breaking, barabar sharing. Barabar sharing, the English one is Crispello breaking, equal sharing. So that means there are 4 Crispellos in one packet. You must share your Crispello with 3 other people. Now, how you share it with 3 other people is your problem, but you have to share it. That's
Okay.
the campaign for us. So it was that. Now coming to the point of how do you design an ad, first and foremost is you need to be in the brand's guidelines. If the brand uses specific colors, if the brand has a specific um, image language, you need to go for that. If it has a specific design language, you need to keep that in mind. So that's first and foremost. Next, I would say, would be your advertisement, or your advertisement's design should speak for the idea. Now the idea is Crispello breaking, barabar sharing, right? So your advertisement should speak Crispello breaking, barabar sharing. So when I see the advertisement and I see the campaign line, I should be able to connect the dots. I should be able to visualize it myself. So yeah, 2 things: brand language and the idea should come out in the ad.
Makes sense. So somebody's also asking, how is an ad agency different from a marketing agency and different from a digital marketing agency?
To be honest, I don't really know what marketing agencies do. Digital marketing agencies and advertising agencies, I know, are not very different. The only difference is advertising agencies do full campaigns. So by full campaigns, I mean they do digital, they do on ground, they do TVCs, they do hoardings, they do print, they do everything. I think digital marketing agencies mainly do only stuff related to digital,
Right.
and then everything else is outsourced to another agency. So that's my understanding. I don't really know what marketing agencies do, to be honest.
Okay. So Vritika also wants to know, what is the selection process at Ogilvy? Like, what are the different steps or recruitment process that they have?
So for me at Ogilvy, I did join through one of my creative directors whom I had worked with before. So my first interview was with him and his partner, his copy partner. And then after meeting them, my second interview was with their boss. And that was actually about it for me at Ogilvy. But as far as I know, how it goes at Ogilvy is, you contact the HR speaks to you, then the HR, they understand where you're coming from. They then think of, okay, what team in Ogilvy can I place this person into, basis their experience or their knowledge about certain things. And then after that, they connect you to the team. So you'll meet probably a mid-level person from the team first. If the mid-level person feels confident about you, you'll probably meet their boss. And in the end, you'll meet the ECD. And then if they all like you, they'll take it forward with the HR.
So there's no task or anything that you're required to do. Like, do you have to make a portfolio for it?
Yes, you definitely do need a portfolio. Portfolios are extremely important while you're trying to get into advertising. Now, portfolio does not necessarily mean you need to have a website or you need to have something in hand printed. My portfolio is on my Instagram. So my copy partner and I have made an Instagram portfolio, because websites are extremely expensive and getting something printed is just waste of paper. So we made a portfolio on Instagram. That's what we send out for getting a job. So yeah, uh, so some forum where you can show your work is really important. Does not matter what kind of a platform it's on.
Okay. Could you also recommend a couple of platforms that students can, build? I think like Behance and all. Do you all use that a lot?
Yes, I have never used Behance, but yes, Behance is a wonderful place to, especially for art directors to show their and designers to show their work. Then, if you want to make a website, which is what most advertising creatives do, they have their own website where they put all of their work. So, for the beginning, I'd suggest you go for Wix,
Yeah.
Wix. So it has a paid part and it has a free part also. So in the beginning, in your first couple of years, you can definitely use the free part. They have their own layouts, and you can pick and choose stuff and make it really interesting and interactive and stuff. So if you do feel like, okay, I do want to try my hand on having a website, definitely try Wix. It's free and it's really handy also.
Okay. So Minaka is also saying, would you recommend the portfolio management portfolio program or masters at MAD?
MAD?
At I think Miami Ad School.
Oh, MAS. Okay.
Okay.
I would suggest the portfolio program. Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I did. And I would suggest that, because that helps you, the portfolio program, like it says, it helps you make a portfolio. So at the end of your 2 years, you have your own website where you can showcase all the work that you've done while your 2 years at school.
Okay. So Acharya also wants to know, how can a content writer transition to copywriting?
So, I actually have a friend who's a content writer, and I used to always tell her, when she used to get bored and she used to be like, I'm so sick of content writing, I used to tell her, why don't you go for copywriting? So, I don't think it's a major shift. Mainly as a copywriter, you need to know how to come up with ideas. As a copywriter, your only job is not just to write stuff. Your job is also to come up with ideas, come up with interesting ideas, or can come up with interesting words that can capture someone's attention. So as a content writer, you're writing a huge piece which
Yeah.
has like 1,500 or 200, whatever amount of words, depending on what you're writing for, right? As a copywriter, you need to be short and sweet. You need to, if I have 1:1 Instagram post, I cannot put more than 5 or 6 words on it, otherwise nobody's going to read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're making ads, you have to write a 15-second ad. 15-second ad can there's a voiceover, which is the product part of it, that needs to be there. So minus that, you can write only so much copy. So you, as a copywriter, you need to be really crisp, and everything needs to be short and sweet. As a
Okay.
content writer, it's just a lot of writing. Over here, you need to write a less.
Makes sense. And I think nowadays everyone's so used to also reading less content. Like our generation is just
Yeah.
like click and go.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, definitely. We don't look at something that has like so many words unless it's by like Nike.
true, true.
Yeah,
So Erin is also asking, account managers are unsung heroes of the ad world. What are your thoughts on it?
definitely. I would agree. They really are. Um, I think account managers, their job is the most difficult job, I'd say, because they have to handle the creative team, they have to handle the planning team, and they also have to handle the client team. Now, if the client says something to the account managers, the account managers have to convey it to their team in the agency, and then if the team in the agency does not like what they're saying, the team in the agency is going to get mad at the account managers, and the account manager is going to have to pass that message on to the clients, and then the clients are going to get mad at them. So yeah, they're like these owls and punching bags between us. So yeah, definitely their job is really, really difficult. And I think it's always necessary to be good to anybody and everybody in the team, whether it's a client servicing person, or it's a creative person, or it's a junior, or whether it's an intern, or it's someone from some other team, or anybody at all, or even if it's just HR. I think it's very important to be good to other people, because everybody's job in their own way is difficult.
That is true.
Yeah.
Lovely. So we just look at the last two questions. Vasundhara is asking, how do advertisement agencies approach brands? Like, how do you all get clients on board, and if somebody wants to collaborate with a brand?
So so advertising agencies don't really do collaborations. What advertising agencies do is they have these brands and they make ads for these brands, correct? So when you do not have a certain brand and you feel like you want to work for this certain brand, so there are these people, top level people, who try and look if that brand is actually looking for a new agency, and then if they are, they approach them. Then that brand will send the agency a brief, and then that brief will be given to one of the creative teams from the agency, and the creative team and the planning team together, they'll come up with this whole hypothetical campaign around that brief. It's called a pitch. It's called a pitch. So you pitch for that client to the client. I just worked on one last week. So yeah, so most of these happen from connections. Like people who have been in the agency, I mean, been in the advertising industry for years and years. They know a lot of people from the client side as well, right? So if there's a client who's at some other agency, who has worked with someone from Ogilvy years ago, and they feel like, okay, now I want to take a change, and I know this person who works at Ogilvy, I've worked with him before, why don't we approach Ogilvy and try and make Ogilvy our new advertising agency? So that way they contact that particular person at Ogilvy, and then they'll give a brief to that person, and the same process, you prepare a whole campaign, hypothetical campaign, and pitch the client. And then if the client likes the work, then that hypothetical campaign becomes into a true campaign.
Makes sense. Lovely. Coming to the last question, Lakshya is saying, if we want to become an art director, what should we keep in mind for our portfolio on Instagram? I think they want to know what is important in a portfolio.
I think anything you do for as your work is important to showcase on your portfolio. So even if it's on Instagram, you should make sure, if you've made an ad, if you've made 5 ads, put all 5 ads in the portfolio. If you've made one video, like a TVC out of it, then put all put that TVC there. If you've made a board, so a board is a creative board is something which is like one A3 size paper, I'd say. You don't have to print it out, but one A3 size box, and then all of your stuff for that campaign is on one board. So when I look at that one board, I know the entire idea of the campaign. I know everything you did for a campaign. Amazing. So if you've made a board, you put that board. If you've made anything for digital, if you've done anything or for Twitter, you should put anything and everything in your portfolio. Anything you've done for this particular campaign or whatever brand you did for, everything should be there in the portfolio.
Makes sense. So you want the recruiter to know everything that you are capable of doing.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. If you're an art director and you feel like you've done some writing job and you're good at it, you put that writing piece in your portfolio and be like, I'm also good at writing. It's always a plus. If you're good at editing, you put that. If you're good in music, put some of your music examples. Like if you're good at playing the guitar, or if you're good at playing the piano, put some pieces there. If you're good at singing, put that. Put whatever you're good at. See, as a creative, you need to be creative, right? You don't necessarily just need to be, okay, sif mujhe Adobe karna hai. No, it's not like that. You need to be good. So people who are hiring you need to know your interests. That's how they can probably choose a brand for you also. If you're good in music, maybe they'll give you Spotify. as a brand. So
Right.
you know, it's always good to put out whatever skills you have out there.
Makes sense. Thank you so much, Brinda. I think it was very insightful. Thank you so much for sharing so much of
Thank you.
information, your journey, and a lot of pro tips and books. I saw a couple of comments in the chat section as well saying, thank you so much for recommending this book because it's definitely going to help them out. So they also want your Instagram handle, I think the portfolio ones, if you can share that in the chat
Um,
section as well.
yeah, just give me 1 second.
Lovely. Mentees, thank you so much for attending the session. I really hope you could gather some value, and for all of you is like aspiring to move into the field of advertising. I'm sure Brinda has definitely inspired you all to move into that field as well. So Brinda, if you could also let us know a couple of last words that you have for the mentees who are interested in moving into the field.
Sorry, 1 second. I'm just trying to put this comment. It's not letting me. Um, okay, done. I've put it in the chat box, my
Yes.
Instagram portfolio. Sorry. Yeah. What did you
No,
ask?
so
Sorry.
before we wrap up the session, a couple of last words for the mentees who want to move into this field.
Um, I think if you want to move into the field, don't think twice. Do it. Be really, really good at it and be passionate about it. Show that you really, really want to do this. I think passion is something that attracts most of the people who are going to hire you. If you're passionate about doing something, people are going to get you in, and you're going to want to work yourself if you really want to do it. And just be good at what you do.
Lovely. On that good note, thank you so much once again, Brinda. It was lovely having you here.
Thank
And
you so
hopefully you
much for
can
having
come
me.
on board for a lot of more webinars because you've definitely inspired a lot of students
Sure.
today.
Yeah, sure. I would love to.
Thank you. A huge shout out to the QFIS team as well. Thank you so much. Wish you all the very best, mentees. Take care and stay safe.
Thank you everyone for attending. I think this has been really great and it's been a change for me in this whole lockdown doing this. I think it's very
Definitely.
great.
We'd love
Thank
to
you.
have you for more webinars, Brinda.
Sure. Thank you so much. I would love to.
Thank you. Yeah. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
You too. Bye-bye. Bye.